business is booming, right? 2018, I was just reading some statistics. It's going to be a 5% increase in spending over what was happening in 2017. And so if you take a look at the statistics here, the total construction put in place estimated, you see we're right here, 2017 and 18, after that horrendous dip down here in 2009 through 2012. It's trending up, and it's looking good for the next few years. So you don't need me to tell you there's a lot of confidence at the moment, not to mention a bunch of overwhelm. Confidence in the commercial construction industry is strong, despite concerns over efficiency and labor productivity, despite the issues that are in the construction industry. There's a high confidence level. Backlog levels at the moment are very, very good in all areas. So the Associated Builders and Contractors said that the backlog indicator set a record as it expanded to 9.45 months during the third quarter of 2017. So I'm assuming that most of you guys have backlog in place, and along with the backlog and along with the amount of work, let me just ask you guys this. What's the biggest challenge that you're facing in 2018? Yeah, talented folks. Yeah, that's definitely a challenge. Talent is a massive issue in construction at the moment. Who else is facing a particular challenge? Anyone else got that? Finding personnel to manage, yeah, thanks, Ed. Finding personnel to manage and execute the work. Massive issues, and that's why this webinar today is so important, because you all know that it's extremely difficult to find good personnel, and you have to be able to maximize the talent and the ability of the personnel that you have on hand at the moment. And that's exactly why this is really important. And so I want to ask you a question. What's the one thing, so Ed or Sadak, what's the one thing you're going to be looking to do to address that challenge in 2018?
I'm going to look to grow from within, so elevate the folks that have been with us for a little bit of time, and see if I can accelerate their development to increase productivity.
Excellent. Thank you, Ed. Internal training and recruiting. Yeah, excellent. Yes, I tell you, so there's a lot of work to be done, guys. That's the thing. There's a lot of focus, and you don't need me to tell you that construction is deeply challenging. These are 7 attributes of the best construction companies. They pursue niche work at which they're excellent and profitable. They deal with clients that they know well. They work with project partners that they trust. They maintain high quality, efficient construction work. They emphasize and demand safety. They insist on timely payment for all dollars earned. And then they have a financial cushion to weather the bad times. And right now things are going well, money's flowing in. Let me encourage you, if you're the executive in charge of the money in your business, or if you're in charge of overhead, you should be socking away cash right now. You should be making sure that there's plenty of cash in the bank, so that when the next downturn hits, whether it's in 2022 or 2023, whatever the case is, when the next downturn hits, you're ready for it. Okay, so those are 7 attributes of the best. One of the challenges in construction at the moment is 90% of contractors don't consider the job sites to be very efficient. And a lot of the reason why that is because labor productivity is lower than it should be. Job site logistics are challenging. Project managing is challenging. The bottom line for a lot of contractors is they're stuffed with work at the moment. You guys know this, okay? You're stuffed with work. There's so much stuff to be done. And in fact, a lot of contractors, they have too much work. There's not enough skilled labor, and their leaders are stretched thin. Not only that, but one of the things that I find is a massive issue at the moment for construction companies is they're starting to get fuzzy, and they're losing focus because of the volume of work on 3 key things: right job, right client, right location. It's so easy to take on too much work in the wrong locations with the wrong clients, and all of a sudden you start losing money. Isn't that strange how you can lose money in the midst of a boom because you get off of that razor tight focus of right job, right client, and right location? And as a result of that, your profits start to sink. And that can be a massive issue in construction companies. And that's why the quality of your leadership is vital. Now think about your leadership team at the moment, okay? Think about the leaders in your organization. Think about your foreman, your superintendents, you know, the guys who actually make you the money, your operations executives, your project executives, your estimating executives. Is the team consistently achieving the expected goals, right? Are they consistently hitting budget and schedule parameters? Are they engaged? Are they actively picking up the phone and dealing with conflicts? Okay? Are they doing what they need to do in order to deliver profitable work consistently in your organization? Now, what's interesting, there's three main issues that a lot of leaders in construction companies have. Unfortunately, number one, they have lousy interpersonal and communication skills. Number two, they fail to see beyond their functional silos. And then number three is they have the inability to deliver the expected results. Now, looking at those three things, right? Lousy interpersonal and communication skills, failure to see beyond their functional silos, and inability to deliver expected results. Which one of those do you have the biggest challenge with? Does anyone want to share that?
I would say silos.
I mean, at the end of the day, it's just meeting results, setting up all the structure and planning and, you know, preparatory steps, pursuing with as much diligence as possible the execution, but just trying to hit the results for the metrics that we set.
I think it's skill sets.
Skill sets, yeah, yeah.
Lack of. You know, the people just aren't there. The people just aren't there today.
Yeah. Yeah, so there's massive issues there. There's massive. Okay, I'm going to put you guys on mute again. Thank you very much for the feedback there. And so the thing to think about here is, oh, by the way, at the end of the workshop, this is something to stick around for. I'm going to show you how you can get some help from me in terms of your leadership, and specifically the leadership impact that you have in your organization in terms of your thinking style, your behavioral traits, and vocational interests. So stick around for that, because I'm actually pretty excited to share that with you. But the first thing I want to do is dive into this idea of lousy interpersonal and communication skills. And the problem that you have, particularly if you're one of the top leaders in your organization, is you may not be aware of the communication challenges that some of your leaders have, because they don't tell you when they have challenges, but perhaps other people are finding that they have challenges as far as their communication is concerned. So do they always seem to be feuding with someone or some group in the organization? So think about that. Or perhaps they have a reputation for being authoritarian or cold or arrogant or insensitive. Think about leaders in your company. There's some people, you know, they're like magnets. So they act as a polarizing force within the company. Some people really love them, and then other people really hate them. And that can be an issue. Some people with lousy interpersonal skills, they avoid direct communication. One of the keys to success in construction companies, obviously, is the quality of your communication. And if you're not direct, and if you're not willing to deal with the issues, then that can really affect the profitability of an organization. And then also, you know what we have these days? We've got lots of email warriors, don't we? I mean, you think about the people who never pick up the phone or never go out to the job site and deal with the issues, preferring just to do everything by email. And as a result of that, it really hinders their effectiveness in the organization. Not only that, but they some folks, they just exhibit a hostile attitude towards coworkers who share their goals, but as a result of their hostile attitude, they're not able to meet their goals together. And then finally, this is really interesting, you get these people who become targets of subtle or blatant sabotage efforts. So think about people in your organization. Is there anyone who's a target of sabotage efforts by other people in the company? So think about those things here, those things. Which resonates for you? Always seem to be feuding, having a reputation for being authoritarian, acting as a polarizing force, avoiding direct communication, you know, being an email warrior, exhibiting that hostile attitude, becoming the target of undermining attempts or sabotage efforts. The question here is, what's the remedy? What's the remedy? As a leader, what do you need to do to remedy that kind of communication challenge? So there's three things that I want to recommend here. Number one, you need to understand the true root cause of the conflict. So does the leader who has a problem, do they have a personal or political problem with just one or two people in the organization? Or does the leader have more significant issues with a number of different people? Because sometimes there's personality clashes, but sometimes there's rooted character issues that hinder someone's leadership. So if the conflict stems from a small personal issue, then your job obviously is to mediate a resolution as soon as possible. But if it's more serious, then what you need to do is you need to understand the manager's management style and motivation. Because, you know, some people, they're just not cut out to be managers, although they may be exceptional individual contributors. I mean, you know, someone who's just an exceptional project manager, they can run work by themselves, but when you put them into a project executive role where they have to manage people, they're just not interested. So when some people have what it takes to lead, others just don't have the motivation or the inclination to be leaders, even though because of their performance in a specialized field, they're put into leadership. And then another issue is that you've really got to help the manager understand his own management and communication style. Some people come across as jerks, even though they don't mean to be. That's just how they come across. So if someone is aloof or insensitive, they may not even be aware of the fact that they are aloof and insensitive, and they just need someone to point it out to them and to help them with that. So it's important for the manager to understand his natural management style and how it impacts others both positively and negatively. Okay, so the manager, you can't expect someone to improve unless they receive concrete feedback from you. Okay, so that's the first issue that you get in companies: lousy interpersonal communication skills. Now, this is a massive one in construction. Silos. Okay, the inability to see beyond your functional silo. So think about the construction business, right? There's just silos inherent in the construction business. You've got the folks who bid the work, and then you've got the folks who build the work. And between the bid and the build, you've got to get that plan right. And so there's a silo involved with that. And then you've got the people who chase the money. And there just seems to be these natural silos in a construction company that can often create the us versus them mentality, which can kill profit in an organization. So let's talk about that a little bit. If someone has the inability to see beyond their functional silo, then you see that they're unwilling to communicate or collaborate with others outside of their unit. So think of, your killer superintendent in the field who's always complaining about the estimators and how they did a lousy estimate, or the estimators who are always complaining about the field and how they don't report back the information that they need in order to improve their estimates. And yet no one seems to be looking to bridge those gaps actively. They seem just to be content to complain. Okay. Then there's another aspect where people they make it all about them. Okay, so they make decisions that benefit their jobs but clearly hurt the overall company. Other people, they're a bit stubborn. They're like mules, right? They're resistant to change that impacts them but clearly benefits the organization. Think about times when you look to put processes in place that will benefit the overall organization, but may sort of inconvenience one person in the company, and that one person just is very, very stubborn. Okay, or think about a promotion where you want to take someone and put them in a new role, but you're taking them off a team, and the person who's leading that team where you're removing that person from is very upset and they just resist that. Okay, that's the silo mentality that you have to work with. And then there's this idea of hoarding information. Think of Gollum here, right? He was all about the ring, his precious. And some people, you know what they do? They hoard information that might benefit others outside of their unit. You know, the field hoards information. They don't communicate it effectively to the estimators, okay? And they need that quality information. Or the estimators, they've estimated a job a particular way, but they don't communicate the expectations effectively enough to the field, and the field gets caught short. So these kinds of silos you have to really work with. And then also you've got this idea of people who are isolated. Maybe you have some of these folks who are on an island. Okay, and the coworkers complain that the manager's out of touch with the organization's mission. They put themselves on the island when, construction is such a collaborative enterprise, and yet they insist on going their own way and doing their own thing. These are the kinds of issues that you have to deal with. So think about, again, the silos. They're unwilling to communicate. They make decisions that benefit themselves and not others. They resist change. They hoard information. They stay on an island. What are some of the remedies for that? Well, number one, you have to establish clarity. So don't assume that a leader understands how he and his team fit into the organization and relate with other units in the organization's greater mission. So you need to sit down with the leader and really spell out for them exactly the impact they have on other people in the organization. Another thing you might do is include the manager in at least one cross-functional team. Now, this is one thing that one of my clients does very effectively. They take leaders of functional teams, like the leaders of the field and the leaders of the office, and they put them into an executive team together. And the effect of that is helping the field and the office interact more consistently and more efficiently by seeing one another's problems and the issues that they're dealing with. And then what you can do is you can establish at least one cross-functional goal for the leader, so that goal is evidence of the fact that they're communicating well with the other silos in the organization. And then the last thing you want to do is you want to monitor their progress. You want to monitor that. And specifically, you know what you need to do? You know what most people need to do in business? They need to sit down and break bread together. So if you've got the field and the office really not communicating as effectively as you want, you need to sit down with them, take them out to lunch, take them out to dinner, have a couple of beers afterwards on a Friday, and really talk through some of the issues that you're facing in your organization. That's how you can break down some of the silos that you might be experiencing. Okay, so you've got ineffective communication, you've got the silos, and then, as someone was saying earlier, the inability to deliver expected results. Okay, and really at the end of the day, Bill Parcells, the coach of the New York Giants who won 2 Super Bowls in the 90s, he said, you are what your record says you are. We can all have great intentions, we can all try our very best, but at the end of the day, if we're not delivering results, we are not doing our jobs. Okay, so let's dive into that just a little bit more. As far as the inability to deliver expected results, think of the idea of the hit rate. So if you're in estimating, right, you have a certain hit rate that you need to get. You need to bring in the work, and you need to bring in the work based on this idea of right job, right client, right location. So think about your estimators at the moment. Are they doing what they need to do in order to bring in the right jobs with the right clients in the right location? So let me ask the people on the call here today, what are some of the biggest challenges with estimating at the moment? What would you say some of the biggest challenges are with estimating at the moment?
Right now, the current climate, there's a lot of opportunity. So finding and picking the right job isn't as clear and easy as you think. I'd say that's one of our biggest challenges right now. Yep,
no, 100%. Thank you for sharing that. I appreciate that. Ed chatted in, he's getting the correct productivity rates for the crew. Yep. So there's serious issues as far as estimating is concerned. And again, I want to emphasize with you guys, think about your backlog at the moment. How excited are you about your backlog? Can you look at your backlog and say, man, we nailed it. We've got the right jobs. We're with the right clients and we're in the right locations. Or are you thinking, man, the next few months are going to be a little bit challenging because of the jobs that we've committed to that perhaps we shouldn't have in the first place? So think about that. Now, think about this in terms of results as well. Think about the field, just in the field itself. And again, I tell you, this is where you're making your money. You know this, man. You make money in the field, okay? The office needs to understand this. Everyone in your company needs to understand that construction companies make money when you're building stuff. Okay, so you think about the results they need to deliver in the field in terms of safety, in terms of speed, and in terms of quality. Again and again and again, those things need to be hit over and over again. The safety, the speed, and the quality. Those are issues, those are results that you should be expecting from your crews again and again and again. And that's what you have to be focusing on. And so if your leaders have inability to deliver those expected results, the way you see that is by the results being consistently below the goal. Okay, think about the measurables in terms of safety or quality or speed. right? If the punch list goes on and on and on, and you have to go back and do rework again and again and again, you've got issues with quality. If you keep getting injuries, you've got issues with safety. So think about the metrics that you've established for quality, safety, and speed, and ask yourself, are my leaders hitting those metrics? Because a lot of leaders, you know what they do, unfortunately? They kind of have the dog ate my homework, right? They like to blame other people for what's happening. They make excuses for their failures, and they point fingers at other folks. And one of the things that you're looking for in your leaders is that they take complete responsibility for the area that you've given them responsibility for. And they're not looking to shift blame to others when things don't go well. Another issue is with the ability to deliver the results is the manager avoids discussions about setting, tracking, and progressing towards goals. Or you're in the meeting with them and they give you the nod, but when you look in their eyes, when you're talking about the results that you're wanting, you can see that they're just not there. They're already having the conversation in their own heads about the reasons why they can't hit those expected results. And not only that, but they spend too much time and energy and resources on low priority activities. You know, you suggest a new way of doing things, and yet they can't focus on that, or they're not interested in that, and they get distracted with just the old way of doing things. And then not only that, but they have a negative attitude when things go badly. I mean, think about it. Life is tough, right? And in construction, you're gonna get knocked on your butt, right? Some things are gonna go wrong. People aren't going to deliver. Stuff is gonna happen. And when you're looking at your leaders, how resilient are they? Are they able to get off the carpet after they've been taken down for an 8 count? Or are they just defeated, and are they just gonna quit, and are they just not gonna give their very best? You're looking for leaders who can consistently give their very best. And not only that, but you need leaders who are aware of how they contribute to the organization's goals. A lot of folks just aren't aware of the impact that their job or their position has on other people. And so in order to deliver the results, sometimes they need that higher perspective. So think about which one of those resonates with you, right? Perhaps you've got folks who are consistently delivering below goal. Perhaps they're shifting blame on others. Perhaps they're avoiding discussions, or they focus on low priority activities, or they're defeated or negative, or maybe they're unaware of how they contribute to the organization's greater goals. And so the remedy for those is kind of simple in a certain way. So number one, you have to clarify expected results and goals. So it's difficult to hit a target when the target is moving or you're shooting through the fog. So think about this. Is everyone in your organization in a place of leadership crystal clear about exactly the metrics they're going to be held accountable for, and when they're going to be held accountable for, and what they're expected to deliver? Okay, and when possible, you need to go beyond what they're supposed to deliver to the how, and really challenge the leader to translate the goals into sub-goals and activities that their people must achieve. Then what you've got to be able to do is understand the manager or the leader. Not everyone is naturally goal-oriented. And for those who aren't, the notion of setting, tracking, and achieving goals can be extremely intimidating. And this is especially true of someone who's new in a place of leadership. So if the manager fits either of those criteria, then expect to spend more time coaching them on how they can achieve their goals. All right, and then not only that, but then you have to inspect what you expect. Once the goals are clear, and this is key, right? You sit down with someone, you have a great face-to-face with them, you explain to them exactly what they need to do, and then you don't follow up. And then you get surprised a month later when you don't follow up and they haven't achieved, when you do follow up and they haven't achieved what you expect them to achieve. So you must inspect what you expect. Okay, so leadership is a challenge in construction organizations. Those poor interpersonal skills are a big issue, the silos are an issue, and the inattention to results are an issue. And just to summarize, these are things that you can do in order to help your people to be more effective in their leadership role. Because at the end of the day, the quality of your leaders is extremely vital, and really it starts with you. So great leaders aspire to be as effective as possible in the myriad of situations that they encounter. Okay, so becoming aware of your strengths to exploit and the potential challenges that you have is the first step in developing and refining your own leadership skills and then helping other people with their leadership challenges. So as a leader, you're responsible for engaging people, implementing policies, making decisions, driving developments, okay? So these are the things that you're responsible for, and these are the components of leadership success. Okay, now, think about this. First thing you have to do as a leader is you have to be able to think strategically. Okay, so you've got to be able to advance innovation, develop specific plans for achieving long-term objectives, and create a vision for the future of the organization. Not only that, but you then have to maximize people. So a leader who is effective in maximizing people inspires others to impart their full commitment to achieve the company's mission and vision. Okay, then an effective leader is really committed to those no silos. And you know, in construction, if you can break those silos down, if you can get the field and the office communicating, if you can get everyone in estimating and everyone who collects the money to understand that the field is the place where the money is made, and respect and honor those folks and understand that they're there to support the field so the field can build stuff so that you can make money, that's going to be really important. And then you've got to be results focused. Okay, so think about this. Are you 100% results focused? Do you have the ability to impart that understanding of the manner in which goals are going to be achieved and the scope of the effort required to achieve them? Are you then able to prioritize tasks to support those goals and then accomplish those goals as you drive it through the organization? Then what you've got to be able to do is mentor other people. So a leader is one who engages in mentoring others, and they're able to recognize the potential in other people, empower them, and then help them to solve the issues that they face so that you can maximize the best in people. So you think about yourself, right? Each one of us, we have good in us and we have bad in us. And we need people in our lives who are able to recognize the good and help us to enhance that so we can make the biggest possible contribution in the companies that we're involved in. And that's your job as a mentor. And then finally, you've got to maintain high personal standards. So ask yourself this: do you have high personal standards for your own conduct? Are you not only holding others accountable for results, but then holding yourself accountable for results? So a leader who's committed to maintaining high personal standards really demonstrates a propensity for engendering trust with other people. He really builds trust with others by keeping promises, by really keeping commitments, by over delivering on the promises that he makes. And so that's another thing that you need to do, is you need to maintain high personal standards. Now, when you look at those 6 things here, can you please let me know, or you can chat it into the box, what would you say is the biggest challenge with these particular components of leadership success? Communication. Yeah, communication's a big challenge. It's really important that you focus on your leadership if you're hoping to build the leadership of others in your organization. And that's where the Profile XT leadership tool comes in. Okay, so think about your leadership impact. The Profile XT leadership approach tool is designed to illuminate your potential and your approach to confronting challenges in terms of achieving excellence in leadership in your organization. And the way it does that is by predicting how you're going to be able to work as a leader based on 3 things: your thinking style, your behavioral traits, and then your vocational interests. And the Profile XT it's really, really fascinating. Let me show you this right here. What it measures is it measures your thinking style, your behavioral traits, and then your occupational interests. And so what it does is it shows you how effective you are in communicating verbally and how effective you are in understanding both the numbers that you face on a daily basis and the implication of those numbers. It then rates you in these behavioral traits: pace, assertiveness, sociability, conformity. And one of the issues that many leaders have is, for instance, most leaders I work with in construction is, in terms of pace, they're up here 7, 8, 9, 10. So they're running somewhere between 70 and 100 miles an hour. But they have people that they work with who run between 30 and 50 miles an hour. So think about how they appear. If you run at 70 to 90 miles an hour, people who run slower, they look at you and think, man, that guy is going way too fast and he needs to slow down. And then you look at other people and you think they're going way too slow and they need to speed up. And the interesting thing about these behavioral traits is they're not measures of character, they're measures of how you behave. And they can be leveraged for good or for ill. And the great thing about the Profile XT leadership approach is it shows you what your behavioral traits are, what your thinking style is, and what your occupational interests are, and then what the implication of those things are in terms of your leadership. Now, check this out. I talked about earlier how you could get some help in terms of your leadership, and so let me explain that a little bit more. What I'm willing to do is to take you through a Profile XT online assessment, just you and I, one-on-one. You take the assessment individually, and then you and I can have a 60-minute executive debrief. I'll send you an individual report, a leadership report, and then you can compare that leadership report to a construction leader profile that's been put together from construction leaders all over the country. Okay? Nice. In that, you're going to be able to analyze your thinking style, your behavioral traits, and your vocational interests. Now, I normally charge $597 for something like this. And if you book this profile with me by the end of today, I'm actually going to do it for you at no charge. And you think, well, why are you doing that, Eric? I'll tell you why. I want to give you guys an opportunity to get to know me a little bit better and the work that I do with my clients, particularly around leadership. And I want you to have an opportunity to get some insights into those key things, the way you think, the way you behave, and what interests you, because those things, whether you realize it or not, have a massive impact on your leadership. So if you book this with me today, by the end of today, I'll do this for you at no charge. So you'll be able to take the assessment. I'll do that 60-minute one-on-one executive debrief with you. And then I'll send you the individual report, the leadership report. So you'll see how your profile relates to your leadership. And then you'll be able to compare it with a construction leader profile from all over the country. Again, all of that at no charge. And this is how you can book it in with me. It's really awesome. All you have to do is go to this URL right here, ericanderton.com.youcanbook.me. Sorry, I mumbled that a little bit, but you can see it right here on the screen. And I'd like you to book the time in between February 12th and 16th, 2018. When you've booked the time, I'll know that you're interested, and so as a result of that, I'll send you the assessment that you can take online. It takes about 60 minutes. And if you have any questions while you're taking the assessment, you can ask me. And again, what I'd like to do is just give you an opportunity to get to know me. I've worked with construction companies since 2004. I love helping you guys kick ass and make money. That's really what I'm all about. And I'd like to give you an opportunity to get to know me a little bit more. So thank you for being patient with me, by the way, today, guys, with the challenges that I had in terms of the audio earlier. So if you're interested in meeting with me, just just click on this link and you can see it. Let's see, I can probably chat it into the box as well. Let me see if I can do that. I'm not sure I can do that right here, but I'll send it out. I'll email it out to all of you guys so that you can book it in with me. And again, once you book it in, then we can schedule a time and I'll send you the assessment. So just to end up here, any questions or comments from anyone?
It's all good stuff. It's everything we're dealing with today.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you. Anyone? Let me just go back in the slides a little bit, just to go back so you can see the summary here. So if you have someone who's got lousy interpersonal skills, let me encourage you. Think about the true root of the cause of the conflict. A lot of times it's just personalities, and you need to move someone out and put them in another position. Sometimes the style of the, man, I tell you, you're dealing with guys. Sometimes guys come out of the field and they're just rough around the edges. And they don't take bullshit from people, and they tell it like it is, and as a result of that, they get under people's skins. Think about the different cultures in your company at the moment. I mean, it's kind of a trip if you think about it. The culture of the office can be so different from the culture of the field, and that can create challenges that can really undermine the success of the company if the leaders aren't ahead of those things and really working through them. And then if you've got the silo issues, okay, you've got to get people communicating, get them breaking bread, getting drinking beer together, communicating, talking about the issues, right? And then in terms of delivering expected results, I tell you, if you can hold your guys accountable, and what that means is this, The reason you're in the position you're in right now is because you hold yourself accountable. But not everyone is like you. Not everyone is like you, and they need help. And all they need is someone to sit down with them on a weekly basis and look them in the eye and hold them accountable for those specific results. And it can really help them to be much more effective as far as that their role is concerned. Excellent. Well, guys, I really appreciate you hanging out with me here today. And I'm going to end the recording here, and I'm going to end the webinar. And thanks a lot for being with me here today.
Thanks, Eric. Appreciate it. Appreciate your time.
Have a great day, guys. I'll send you out the link too for the evaluation or the assessment if you want to do it.
Fantastic. Thank you, sir.
Thanks, guys.
Have a good day. Take care. Bye-bye.